high volume, preferably in a residential area.
Yeah, boom today, all you sports fans out there in the Dubosphere, to you, the individual part of this collective. Welcome to the OMSR Gen 5.0 with your brief but very concise host, Will, the alternative ESPN Sports Thrill. Do a little intro show thing-a-ling-a-majeen so you know the clipboard are coming up in the whys, to wherefores on this episode. Covering what had to have been one of the worst officiated national championship games I've seen, and that going back to 1982 on the cusp of my teens. With the long and storied history of watching college basketball and having played it myself at that level until I blew out my ankle. It's right up there with take your pick of North Carolina, Michigan State, or North Carolina, Illinois. Kind of a running theme here. So, yeah, Wisconsin got robbed. So I put together, the intro, part one highlights. I deferred to ESPN. I wanted to see what Jay Will and Jay Bill would say on behalf of their university, because they were on teams who played a very different style of Duke basketball. This will be part of the rant as this episode progresses. A lot of stuff to get into. I don't want to, sit here and talk about it all, take up 6 minutes worth of time. But suffice to say, even Dickie V, there was a whole lot of going on and not a lot of honesty. Were you guys watching the same game? So that's what's coming up. And then we'll close out with, on the other side of the coin, with Wisconsin. I put together a sort of a how you may be feeling for the next little while, all of the new generation of Duke haters up there. Some Scandinavian kid of mine to close out with stuff. It'll be Gen 5.0, bring you more content and more show, but it takes up less time because they're all fused together with the new and improved Will in a Box. Wax off to wax on. The Will in a Box, as opposed to Jack in the Box. Down here in the corner, low profile, low drag. Chime in a little bit. Little sound bites, snippets between there, sort of like your third commentator on point, or fourth, or fifth, as the case may be. Part of the, leading up to the Quickie Sport Rant. And again, may not have finished there in the intro. DEFCON 2 alarms went off only 3 minutes into the game, and I thought to myself, it's going to be like one of those games. Ended up with 13 minutes worth of disparity of officiating. That's what the bulk of the sport rant's going to be about. So stuff you may have seen and passed you by and you didn't have a chance to go back and review it, all broken down in slow motion. Until then, we're going to see, hear for ourselves on the ESPN side of things. Halfway to John Wooden's. And everybody's talking about, okay, great Coach K, this, that, and the other. And yes, he's a great man and a good coach and mentor and whatnot. But I'm going to just submit a theory to you all out there. It's a brand of basketball that has influenced officiating with too much partiality on behalf of Duke. It's probably rubbed off on the North Carolina too. Something about it. Anyway, there's Dickie V.
Other people carried him and picked up the slot. Certainly the guard did. Tyus Jones was brilliant in the second half, scoring 19 of his points.
Brilliant.
Yeah, Tyus did a great job.
You call jumping into people with your elbows brilliant.
Grayson Allen was terrific. Between them, they had 39 points. All of Duke's freshmen scored all the points in terms of the second half, 37. And I thought they got the foul on. First half was only 2 fouls committed by Wisconsin. Second half, Duke was driving the
You heard that, right? The two foul. Is that in the first half?
It was a turning point in the game. It was really when Grayson Allen and his gut took over the game. Duke was down by 9. Coach K called a timeout. And the Blue Devils looked tentative, and it was Allen who was attacking the rim and attacking on defense.
I could not believe how assertive he was. He came in, he thought he was the number one option. I mean, he wanted the ball. Right in front of him, he's wanting the ball. And he's going to the basket like you cannot believe. He played with no fear at all. And I believe that rubbed off on his teammates. And then Jones took over, which he's been doing.
Kind of easy to be fearless when you've known for at least the start of the second half that the officiating is going your way and the defense is on their heels because they don't know what's going to happen next. That's not really fearless, right? That's taking advantage of, the officiating whistle bugaboos, as I alluded to on the MSU Sport Rants a couple episodes back. Sorry.
More than anyone, and 5 national titles in an era where the competition to me is a lot keener than it was years ago. With the one and done, the three-point shot, you have to win more games now than you did in the past. I don't know if you agree, but that's my feeling.
I think it's a worthy debate. It depends on what you value the most. I tend to agree with you.
Freeze that for a second.
Take the entire body of work.
I think it's safe to say for all of us that we value impartial officiating. Now, these guys do a kick-ass job covering college basketball. That's where I get a lot of my reviews, and I give them all the credit and stick to the DMCA side of things, minimal use and all that, fair use standard. And many times, it has been said, a couple of times this year, there might be some reviews even on the channel, how the officiating and the officials combined don't make it about you. I think it was Dawkins. You got to love Dan Dawkins, Indiana, straight up forthright approach. Don't make it about you, especially towards the end of the game and things are on the line. Obviously, this is so much bigger than that. But that's, in a nutshell, is what I wanted to say. Getting this format down a little bit more, kind of figuring out the technical on-the-fly adjustments that need to be made.
Beat the number 1 seed to cut down the net. We are not here to debate solely if Coach K is the greatest, or if he is in the top 2, or if he's in the top 1. But tell me about the coach.
So here we go with J. Will and J. Bill.
Same values, same principles, same foundation, but way better. And I think he's a better coach than Jay Williams played for a better coach than I played for. And these guys are playing for a better coach than Jay Williams played for. That's not to say that, somehow you lament, geez, I wish he was that good. But he was great when I played for him. He was great when Jay played for him. But he keeps getting better. And that's a remarkable thing to be able to say about a guy who's in his late 60s and has been coaching for 40 years. He's not like coasting, we were talking off air, he's not coasting towards the finish line. He continues to grind him. And that's really what he is, I think, more than anything, is he's a day-by-day, grind it out, stay up late, watch the tape down to the bitter end, even if he's won by 30, watch every detail.
And for the record, I'm not putting this together to be disparaging towards Coach K. There's just something that I've watched develop over the last 20 years, especially since the O's, the early O's after Jay Will, and a very worthy and deserving Duke team won the national championship. Since then, the paradigm has changed.
And when there's all this hysteria about Coach K going for his 5th national title or 1,000 wins, his ability, you heard Quinn Cook say that tonight. He said, we weren't going for Coach K's 5th title. We were going for our 1st together. And his ability to get them to buy into that.
It's kind of insightful in and of itself, right? It's like oh, these guys are such great, I love my team. Coach K was saying, yeah,
the coach of the game has changed. Recruiting has changed. Coach K has changed. I mean, he was a motion coach, basically, and zone was like a foreign word. They run pro sets now. The Olympics experience helped them grow. But the one thing that remained the same, just listening to these guys the last few years talk about Coach K is,
I think we'd all agree with that. That was cool to see him, pull it together for USA basketball. He's a great dude. It's not a debate about Coach K, the big meaning of a coach. No.
As an outsider, listening to
But maybe some things he does instill
That's why he's successful.
part of the routine. You keep seeing a pattern of repetition going on coming from certain schools, and you have to assume, right? It's not by chance. You don't see this happening on behalf of any other schools taking charges. 6'9" guys that could easily box a shot.
The comparison to Wooden is a fair one, and it's an important thing to talk about. It's great. I'm a little uncomfortable with this business about do we put one ahead of the other. I think if we put them on the same tier, which that's where I would put them, they're on the same tier. I think if Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Bill Walton and Dave Myers were sitting here, they'd have a different take. He coached in an era when he first started where this country was segregated, and he coached on Barstow.
Style and ride going on for Wisconsin. I wonder if all the schools were, if you make it to the Final Four, was this built beforehand? Who decided all that, right? That's a pretty posh-looking touring bus.
When we start talking about Wooden and Coach K, the fact that we're having this debate and this discussion, I think is honor enough for both. But putting one over the other, I'm not sure how productive that is.
Well, the bus wrapped up.
The bang-bang back-to-back plays include the real-time speed, and with the audio, there's so much going on. Alex synopsize it. This is take 4. You'll hear Grant Hill in the background, sort of like with inappropriate and one-sided commentary. Note to CBS, you must have your guys on point, play-by-play, or color, as they may be, recuse themselves when their school is at the Final Four. Forget about the Nat Champ. Just those Final Four schools. Where was Clark? The ball bouncing off, I'm calling him Dewey Duke. Everybody going gaga over him. The officiating was snowballing very quickly. You see Frank getting frustrated. Never seen him act that way, really, in 2 years watching Wisconsin. I feel your pain up there, my fellow Scandinavians, especially those of you of the Berserker class, right? Want to reach into the TV? No. I always make it a rule when I'm watching Duke because, again, as I have explained, I'm not the biggest Duke booster. There's nothing personal against Krzyzewski, but I'll synopsize or epilogue everything going on after the fact, what my theory is in terms of what he is teaching and why this stuff happens. But so much happening. Calls not going for Wisconsin that were called consistently throughout the tournament, and then this little ticky-tack stuff being called for Duke. You have defense being played properly. These guys were taught well by Coach Ryan. Jumping away, but with, the offensive players driving, trying to go for a layup. Just total nonsense. I could go on and on and on for another 5 minutes, but I will briefly just describe this. There's the first clue that this is going to be kind of a difficult game. How do you miss that travel? Clearly 3 big steps, right? And it went on from there. Missed foul there. Bodying up. Elbow affected on the shot. Graphics going on here. Selected by the 4 or 5 minute marker. Much like with the Michigan State start, once the whistle started blowing, just kept on going. To the body contort here, kinds of fouling going on there. Foul being called there, though. Boom, boom, back-to-back play. And clearly there's 2 officials who are engaged in this type of behavior. Older white guy, African-American guy, younger white guy. Younger white guy was calling it even both ways, which is important at that very last call. It was just a slam dunk. For what I just said, if this is happy, there's something going on. That should be a foul on the bench. Big time no call on an obvious foul.
Down low.
Jefferson.
And it's a mistake of the Badgers.
And that'll just, attitude, coming from defense starting to show up.
The activity. It's not there. Get the most efficient team in the tournament coming in.
Then the one time, trying to, put on cover. That's his cover. I better call someone against Duke. They get all upset about it. Because Duke players are like, hey, we don't get that call against us. Rake across the arm that was missed, very obvious. Of course, that'll make you a little woozy right there. Unless you don't want to relive the pain, I can really understand it. This is even more than I'm used to seeing Duke get away with. Grant Hill talking about, it's a physical game. Well, that happened to your guys, right? Your fellow out there, huh? Red coming in totally inappropriately right here.
Both in this half.
Translation, hey, stop you paying attention to our bad officiating. They weren't bitching at the refs. They were just frustrated, huddling with themselves, not even taking it out on the Duke players. That right there I've never seen before.
Spinning through. And the foul's going to be on Hayes. A really nice understanding of what to do. Little bump right there.
Little body, check there. That gets called a lot sometimes. Missed clothesline here. Wham! Hello? Check your scalp line. Hey, Dewey Duke getting a call in his favor.
And down the stretch. Look at this full extension protection.
Grant Hill getting all excited. Typical Coach K. I expecting that look on his face. The only thing that puts a lot of us off, because he's like, man, if it doesn't go his way, he looks like that. Gets all fired up, he looks like that. When did it become acceptable to go? No, 15 years ago, you weren't taught that to go and do that. And Duke players have had to do that. They had to do that.
Ryan's pointing to the monitor and says,
It is what Bo Ryan, all that, what stage you're at. Can't take it anymore. So you blame him, this is going on 3 minutes into the game.
Turning, I don't blame Bo. He's trying to stem the tide.
And for the record, Dewey Duke ain't all that. Even that. I'd be close to running to the left and right. One-on-one. Oh, yeah.
We'll figure it out when we get back, Coach.
This false praise being that the next mold, or the next clone in the mold of Bobby Hurley. That same dude, old white guy sitting there making a scene. He goes and does it like almost 3 times the block while he's looking down at the Wisconsin player who was hot earlier with some timely shooting. The 2 refs in question taking a flop. You could see his head snap back, some throwback, some momentum to make it look like a charge. Nobody goes down quick that fast. A bona fide charge. You got to go flying a little bit distance that way. Elementary physics, right? Ball going off of Dewey Duke, but they say it went off Frank. What? Were you guys watching the same game too, right? Here was the doozy. They looked at this for like 5 minutes. Oh, we can't, it's indeterminate. And then Grant Hill chiming in. Yeah, dude. Because at this point of the game, it's got to be so freaking disjointed. No wonder they couldn't get anything pulled together in terms of letting somebody else. Now, I'm a student of psychological therapy. What's going on here? I'm not going to say much more beyond that. That's what these people get on this. Younger, black guy official, kind of got that Wisconsin fish, like, and he pulled out again with that mid-travel. Unbelievable. Problems. It just seemed like every trip down there was a foul, so those two one over the other, I'm not sure how productive that is.
Well, the bus wrapped for Wisconsin that says the road ends here. Literally on this night, it does. As they lose in the championship game, pulling into the team hotel right across from our set. You saw Bo Ryan walk off, and there's a lot to digest. And my guess is that they will not just be happy, joy when they get on that charter back to Madison
tomorrow. A tough night as they lose 68-63, 74 years, between title appearances in the title game for the Wisconsin Badgers, 1941 and now 2015.
They have nothing. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Exactly right.
When you lose this game, you have the pain never goes away.
Yep.
May dull here or there, but it never goes away.
And they have nothing to hang their head down for. I mean,
Which is a great speech, right? But it still hurts. You have nothing to hang your head over. No, but that's still, that's an L.
But being that close to it and having a national championship within your grasp, and then you watch, all these one shining moment and all this stuff year after year after year, it's still, when you fall short of that goal that you have, especially when you're right there in the championship game, it's a pain that never goes away.
but I will say this, and we know that nobody ever remembers the runner-up or the losing the championship game. Maybe it's a little different because of the victory over Kentucky. I think people will remember that, and Wisconsin can take that at least with them.
I agree with you. You talk about the teams Wisconsin beat to get here. I mean, they beat an Arizona team that would be okay to get to the Final Four and win the whole thing. And they beat obviously Kentucky. They lose 3 regular season games. One game at Rutgers is without 2 of their best players, and Frank Kaminsky, National Player of the Year, does not play. The other games at home against Duke, and they phenomenal year, and for them to get back to the title game, that's unbelievable.
Amazing run. Amazing run. To go to the Final Four last year, the first for Bo Ryan in Division I, then to win the Big Ten regular season and get to the championship game, beating North Carolina, Arizona, and then an undefeated Kentucky before having to play Duke for the chance to cut the nets down. Talk about a murderer's row.
That was chalk. I mean, if they would have been able to close the deal, they were the only school in the history that would have beaten chalk, which was an amazing accomplishment.
Wow. It's that I've had the hard to say the word, but every player that's played through the program, okay, we don't do a rent a player, you know what I mean, try to take a fifth-year guy or whatever, and that's okay. If other people do that, that's great. I like trying to build from within. It's just the way I am. And to see these guys grow over the years, and to be here last year and lose a tough game, and boom, they came back, they said what they wanted to do, and they put themselves into that position, and they won't forget this for a long time.
It's tough to say anything right now. These guys are my family, and I mean that literally. I don't mean that hypothetically. I've never been closer to a group of guys in my entire life. From the coaching staff on down to every single player on this team. It's just going to be hard to say goodbye.
We had a heck of a season. The stuff we accomplished. Sometimes, life's not fair. This is what, this is not the outcome we envisioned. We knew we were going to win, and it just didn't happen.
Did you take issue with the officiating?
Have you ever watched me during a game? I don't think this was any different. No, we have these things that we practice, okay? We practice in our practices where if an offensive player jumps into you, we always call it on the offensive player. It's just what we do. So, there were some situations where obviously our guys felt they were in position. I'm sure they felt they were in the right. So both teams are going to always feel that there's a question or two. So it's just the way the game's played.
No question about the ACC's record against the Big Ten. They're running roughshod over them. They've met in the title game 7 times. The ACC winning each of the last 6. Big Ten hasn't beaten an Atlantic Coast Conference team to win the national title since Indiana topped North Carolina in 1981.
our final segment here, so you know Coach Ryan was holding back there. And just as a reminder, what Coach Izzo thought of it as well, 2 games in a row. Chance? I don't know. By the way, in the process of trying to explain this succinctly, because there's so many dynamics going on, as I think you would all agree. Definitely up there, one of the top 3 was officiated national championship games I've ever seen. All involving ACC schools. You got Dwayne Darnett, Ultimate Sports Fan, the OMSR mascot. The headshot that started it all. And they're all ready to give Duke another trophy for 2011 because they'd won it the year before, and I just couldn't take it anymore. They ended up losing the round of 32. Really good D and owning the man on offense, running with, much like what was on display the Wisconsin players were doing. That's good defense. Not stepping in, taking the wimp's way out, taking charges or trying to take charges on all the time. It's amazing more dudes haven't gotten hurt playing Duke. I'm just saying. Was that a cap on Coach K? It's just one element to something you see consistently with Duke basketball ever since UNLV 1991. But it's just sports after all. But this was pretty egregious. I think we all have to admit. So, my fellow Scandinavian kin, I am specifically Danish, I leave you with this parting gift, how you may feel for a little while, kind of the perfect tune, and remind you all, pace yourself this week because there will be drinking. Oh yes, there will be lots of drinking in the Midwest for the next week or for the rest of the year, both central and upper. So pace yourself, reminding you, sports and alcohol, they are joined at the hip. Roll.